What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hit the Road Madeira podcast. Today we're with Roberto from Quinta do Furao in Santana, the hotel. And today we're talking about Madeira Wine. We've just had our last Madeira Wine Festival, or Vindimas, like we say in Santana. And Roberto here is the wine expert at Quinta do Furao. And today we're going to speak a little bit about the wine festival, the Vindimas festival, and also about Madeira wine, so we can give you guys some tips on what to look for when you're buying some Madeira wine and when you're looking for some Madeira wine tasting and so on. So first of all, Roberto, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about Vindimas?
So, Vindimas, today was our last day, but we normally start in the end of August through the month of September. The Vindimas at Quinta do Furao, here we do a festival. It's the traditional way how they did 50 years ago, and we still do that with the same thing. We collect the grapes not only from our vineyard but as well from some neighbors that we have around, and we use them for making afterwards the Madeira wine. Today we have the type of grape that is called Quinta, that is the most planted vineyard around the island.
From Câmara de Lobos,
a lot
of it we see. Yeah.
They are at sea level, they are excellent. Even in Arco de São Jorge, also they have the Quinta Negra, but they produce dry Madeira with those. The northern coast of the island is not so good for the sweet wines as the south, because they are the heat and the weather is different. The northern coast, rains, fog, a lot of water, so the grapes don't have that much sugar content. So it was selected to make the dries or the medium dries, like we have some of them here.
The grape, from what I believe, the sugar is made, it's like a way to protect the grape, yes? From the heat.
The heat, yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So we do the Vindima, the wine festival, is a big festival. We've been making Madeira wine in Madeira for many years, yeah?
Nearly 600 years. On the beginning it was not this type of wine, because it was a process that took several years and several generations. Normally the first one was the Malvasia, that's the sweet Madeira. It was a grape imported, the grape didn't exist in Portugal, so they brought from some islands like Creta, and it was the first one to arrive here at the island, and the one that made the Madeira wines around the world.
Malvasia.
The Malvasia.
Which is the sweet wine now.
The sweet, yeah. So through the years they start to improve, to bring other types to the island, like the Boal, the Verdelho and the Cercial. On the rest of Portugal, none of these grapes are used to make this kind of wines. They are mostly a mixture to make white wines, like the Cercial in the down area near Porto.
Okay.
Verdelho in the High Douro to make port wine, but it's a blend. They don't only have Verdelho, but they have also other grapes mixed to make the Porto Columns, the Porto Lágrimas. They use as well Verdelho, but mixed with other varieties. Here on the island, we select each grape to make a different style.
Okay.
Cercial for the dry, medium dry Verdelho, medium sweet Boal, and the sweet Malvasia, or when it's to export, Malmsey. Malmsey, when you buy a bottle of Malmsey wine, you know that's from the island of Madeira.
Oh really?
Yeah.
What, are we the only place that does it?
At the moment they protect the brand, the Malvasia, because there was a lot of forgeries around the world, a lot of copies of Madeira wine, and those, they don't last as Madeira, and they were quite bad. So to make sure the wine is from Madeira when it's the sweet, and to export, it's called Malmsey.
Because we used to, you showed me once, I remember from the tours, when we do the tours, you showed me once about the Canary Islands, that the guys used to rob the Madeira wine,
exactly.
And then they used to sell something different, yeah? Very cool, okay.
Normally in those days it was quite different from today, because the wine needed to go to different parts of the world, and then they had to bring it back again to the island so they could be sold.
Yeah, can you tell us the story about how they discovered Madeira wine? I love the story.
Yeah, that was, well, on the beginning when they start populating the island, they start to produce wine to have on the boats, so the sailors could drink and to take to the colonies. And what they didn't knew is that the soil of the island is quite special. It's volcanic soil, but it has minerals and acids that cannot be found outside of the island in the same proportions. So they didn't knew that, but they used to supply the boats with wine. And in those days, by experience, they already knew that the best way to preserve wine was just to put more alcohol to that wine.
Yeah.
And send it to the different parts of the world where they are going to India, to Australia, depending on
to Brazil.
Yeah, to Brazil as well.
Yeah.
So when they were adding the alcohol to that wine, brandy or rum, that was the thing they had more available here on the island. They as well, the wine sometimes was still fermenting. The wine was not quite ready. But they didn't care about that, they just pour in the alcohol. And when they have the alcohol inside, that kills the bacteria. That makes the sugar into alcohol. Stops the fermentation of the wine and maintains the wine, the sugars, the natural sugars of the wine inside.
Which makes it sweet.
It makes it sweet. Plus, when it was shipped to India, it took several months on the sea. The voyages normally, the Madeira wines were stored on the bottom of the boats. One idea was to help stabilize the boat. It was before they invented the keel to stabilize the boat. They used the wines, or some countries used rocks on the bottom.
Really?
But Portugal was the
Wine.
one. They could drink normally already also water, but the wine, Madeira wine, was also for that. What they did not know was the time that the wine stayed on the casks. On the tropics, the temperatures were higher, and what happens is inside of the wooden barrels, the wine, the Madeira wines, the acidity from the island still is there and starts to destroy the inside of the cask, pulling more flavor. That movement of the boat as well on the waves makes the wine inside to breathe, to circulate, to oxygenate. That was the process that makes all of the Madeira wines unique. They can last hundreds of years. Even after we open a bottle of these, the minimum to drink the whole bottle, it's 18 months.
And it's because of how they kept in the barrel.
In the barrel, and because of as well the acidity of the soil, of the volcanic soil, and the minerals that they can find in this soil that makes these wines unique. No other wine can last as a Madeira.
Sorry for interrupting, but you told me a story once. I remember. I mean, obviously we've spoken a lot with Roberto over the years.
Yes.
But you told me the story about how they try to make Madeira wine in Texas.
Yeah.
And after, of course, prohibition and all that, and it didn't work. Of course, I'm assuming.
They still have a wine called Madeira.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's not called Madeira because today Madeira it's already protected. This is a protected name. So they had to invent something else, so they call it Madeira.
Okay.
It is like a copy of these types of wines. During many years, many centuries, United States was our #1 importer of wine. United States and Brazil. But due to the plague that we had here on the island on the 17th century, the end of the 17th century, we lost that market a bit because we didn't have enough wine to sell. And what they did was, once they discovered they could also plant vineyards in the United States, one of the first wines to be copied was the Madeira.
Because it was one of the most popular wines in America, I believe.
And still today it's a very important wine for the United States, especially the Malmsey.
Okay.
Because in 1776, when they signed the Declaration of the Independence, the toast was made
with the Malmsey wine.
Yeah.
Okay.
And still every year for the 4th of July, Portugal and a ship takes a cask to the United States of Madeira wine
Cool.
to celebrate that date. Normally it's the navio Escola Sagres, the one that took last year the barrel of Madeira wine, just for that purpose.
Awesome. So let's say we come, a tourist comes over to Madeira, and from what we can see here, there's 4 different types of Madeira wine. Can you go through? I mean, when do we drink each wine, and what makes each wine so special?
So, for starters, normally Madeira wine we have all of them for something. Cercial, it's a dry wine, so it could be served chilled, all of them, but the Cercial with almonds or just as aperitif, or dry fruits, nuts as well. This is an excellent wine to drink cold, by himself as well, or with something salted, almonds, dry fruits. It's an excellent wine. The Cercial, like it's from the northern coast of the island as well. Our part of the island, the northern coast, it's the younger part, so it has lots of acidity.
Okay.
So normally for aperitif or just with a peel of lemon inside, cold, it's excellent. This one here, the Verdelho. Today is very popular as well. The grape Verdelho, it's not only to make Madeira wine, but also to make table wine. Already we have a few companies that are making white wine with Verdelho and several other types of grapes, but the Verdelho is the main one.
This is the medium
dry. So it could be served as well cold and with the starter, salads, soups, consommes, or even desserts, but for desserts something light, like a fruit salad or even ice cream. But more than that, it's not recommended, otherwise you start to lose the flavor of the wine.
Okay.
Or if you lose the flavor of the food, so something is wrong. So just lighter things. Well, dessert wine.
It's my favorite.
This one now already has, in terms of sugar, depends on the company, but Blandis, they stop the fermentation with 100 grams of sugar, natural sugars inside.
And this is after a couple of days, yeah?
Just 4 to 5 days.
4 to 5 days after the wine has been, after the grapes have started fermenting.
Yeah, exactly. They start to lose the sugar to gain a bit more of alcohol, and they measure that sugar inside, the natural sugar. So when it reaches the level they want, they just pour in the alcohol to kill the bacteria, to keep the sugar stabilized inside. So the boiled, so normally for desserts, soft cheeses as well, but mostly desserts. Also to be served cold.
Okay.
And most famous of the wines, the Malvasia. It's a lot sweeter than the Boal. In terms of sugar quantity, this one already has 125 grams of sugar per liter. These values of sugar, of course, it's different from company to company, and normally they don't tell you how much sugar they have inside, but we have some information, that some special information, so they told us that this one was with 125 grams of sugar per liter.
Of course, you guys in Quinta do Furao, you work directly with the Blandis.
Yeah.
It's correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that the Blandis is the most popular wine, or at least the biggest, and probably the most commercial wine in Madeira. I think, I mean, also, I'm not too clued up in politics, but the person responsible for the Blandi family is also the president of the Madeira Wine Institute. And the Madeira Wine Company, but also the Madeira Wine Institute, right? I'm not sure.
No, also I'm not sure about that. But
okay.
It's also the Madeira Wine Company is the president.
But definitely they definitely maybe the leaders in Madeira Wine in Madeira, right?
At the moment they are the ones. Well, Blandis is not only one brand; it's several others. It's Miles, Lecoq, and Gordon and Cossart. The company is called Madeira Wine Company, that is today run by Blandis, and they produce for the worldwide. Some other companies, they have their own markets, their own niches, but Blandis, they are the largest producers of the Madeira wines. They export worldwide today. The number one market for them and for the majority of the other Madeira wine companies, it's the British market. Second, it's the French market, and in third place comes the German market that is rising now. Also, the conditions on the island is quite different from many years ago. Mainly, we had here the tourists were different. Many years ago was mostly the British. That the island was quite popular, not only because of the wines, but also because of the levadas, the walks that we have. And in those days, it was the British market that was here on the island. Today, the markets are changing, and today it's the number one market for us is the German market. Yeah. And so it's the ones that are tasting Madeira wine, taking Madeira wine to Germany. So, and it's the market that we are investing a bit more to make publicity.
Let's say we're in Madeira and we want to buy a bottle of Madeira wine. I usually recommend people to go to the supermarket. Yeah. Of course, if they're if they find their way here to Quinta do Furao, inside the wine cellar where we are now, or of course on a guided tour or something like that, then of course they're welcome to buy a bottle there. But can you give us some tips on how to buy a good bottle of Madeira wine? What we should be looking out for? What shouldn't we buy? What should we buy? Something like this.
First, to buy a good bottle of Madeira wine, to start 5 years. It's already a good wine, and as well, very important, it's the name of the grapes. If you don't see that on the label, it means the wine was mixed. They had other varieties that are not allowed to have the reference on the labels. Malvasia, Boal, Verdelho and Cercial, that is to make sure that inside of these bottles at least 85% it's Boal. If you don't see that, could be made with Tinta Negra or with other varieties. That is quite important.
And it's got to be 5 years?
5 years. If you buy a bottle that doesn't say the age on the label of the Madeira wine, it's probably made in stainless steel. So it's the youngest of the Madeiras. It's made with 3 months in the large containers, in large vats that takes 40,000 liters with a hot water serpentine inside at 50 degrees. During those 3 months to fast cooking the wine inside. Then they take it out, they move to another stainless steel vat or to oak for 2 years and a half. Those are the youngest. Also they are good wines depending on the company. From Blandis, the 3 years old, like we have them here, they are excellent to make cocktails, to drink, and to cook as well. Like the Duke of Cumberland, to make the Cumberland sauce. For those who want to love that sauce, that's excellent. Rainwater to make the cocktail like we do here, the Madeira on ice. That is also a refreshing cocktail. The dry, the Duke of Sussex, as aperitif like the Cercial as well. And in supermarkets you can find those and as well these ones here. And probably we'll find mostly from Blandis, but there is also other brands on the supermarkets. But main things are age and type of grape. If it's not on the label, it is a different type. It's the youngest of the Madeira wines, and there is also bad wines on the island from some companies that they don't care about what they have inside of those bottles, so they just pour in something else. It's Madeira, but it's a rubbish wine.
Okay, so you want to stick with or Blandis, of course, or one of the bigger well-known companies. But what's really important is what's on the label.
Yeah, exactly.
5 years and upwards. And of course the name of the grape.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, I think that's already pretty. That's a lot of information. You know, I would recommend people to come out to Quinta do Furao in Santana, if not with us, but with somebody else, and to come and visit the wine.
Well, we hit the road.
With hit the road, exactly.
The best way. Otherwise, you will not taste one of these.
Yeah. You're gonna open up one of the bottles?
Just for finishing.
Thank you.
Sweet Madeira.
He knows me too well.
So we are not the president of the United States, but we will do the toast with a sweet.
Nice, very good. So this is the one that they toasted, the Declaration of Independence.
Yes.
Thomas, so you can be Thomas Jefferson and I'll be Benjamin Franklin. Actually, no, I'm gonna be Thomas Jefferson. I'm gonna be Thomas Jefferson. You can be Benjamin Franklin.
Just need my glasses, but so cheers.
Cheers. Saúde. Oh, this is good stuff. Guys, that's it for today. Madeira Wine with Roberto from Quinta do Furao. We'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Bye bye.